he could tell I like cars.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, hey, there's this movie coming out, and they got a Charger, man, lifting the front end of it. It should be a good movie. And I was like, I'll go see it. One time in the Supra, we got pulled over 3 times in 10 minutes in a city that had 3 on-duty cops. It had 210,000 miles, smelled like straight black ice, dude. Like high schooler air freshener, black ice from AutoZone. It's still good, man. It's clean title.
Clean as far as the government knows.
Yeah. Dude, Chelsea, bro. Like,
Chelsea, you're a f***ing savage for that. I will give you that.
Gotta stay fresh like a brand new whip. That new smell, switching it up, 2-step. They try to text, leaving my
Before we get into the podcast, I want to let you guys know that this one was about 2 hours and 15 minutes long fully. So if you want to see the entire full-length podcast, I'm going to leave you guys 1 week free subscription on Patreon so that you can actually go watch it completely for free. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to not only my channel, but Bridgemoto's channel and their Instagram, which I will leave in the description so that you can get entered into the Bridgemoto Giveaway before it ends at the end of the month. Now that's all I got for you guys. Let's get into the podcast.
Welcome back to the #1 drift podcast on YouTube. I am Dawson, and this is
I'm Michael Elsea. Or
got
you can call me Elsea.
Elsea.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask about that because actually the first time I ever heard your name,
I know where this is going.
I thought it was the pro driver. I'm not gonna lie.
I still get tagged in his post all the time, and he'll get tagged in mine, and I'm like, "Hey, man, this one's for you," and he's like,
Wrong person. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, it happens, but you know, it's okay. I'm okay to be, you know, mixed up with that.
I'm still my own person.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's a good dude, but I definitely had to ditch the BMWs when that was happening too much. I was like, we can't be in the same chassis, dude. So, yeah.
Got to make some type of switch up.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, first, before we get into the podcast, don't forget to subscribe. So check below the video. If that button is still red, go ahead and click it and hit the bell notification so you are updated when every episode comes out, along with the vlogs and stuff like that. But as you can tell, we got some brand new merch. So grab that while you can. It won't last long. It's actually, majority of it is embroidered, so we went and stepped it up a little bit. But yeah, if you want to support, grab the merch. Link is in the description. But I will let you kind of introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, man. My name's Michael Elsea, and I like drifting a lot, way too much, and really enjoy it. And I love talking about it. So here I am naturally. Why not?
If you don't know, on his channel, he actually does kind of some of these podcasts himself. It's Talking Shop. God, I just asked you too, and I fucking forgot.
I'm due for another one soon, but you know, they take a lot of time.
Yeah,
and,
that is very true.
I'm gonna do one again soon. I'm itching to do one. Have a couple people I want to have on. Dude, trying to get Ken on, man, but he doesn't like talking about himself and what he's doing. You know, he's very humble, which is what I love about him. But you know, I want people to hear his story. I really do. He'll share.
Ken's
it with anyone.
a very interesting dude, man.
He is, and he'll share his story with you at the track and stuff. But I'd like for him to, you know, just tell a story. Why not?
Open up on the internet, man.
Just be cool. You know, he's
it'll do a lot for the track, I think.
Oh yeah, and
honestly.
just hearing his like background and what got him started, and just hearing the stories of back in the day. You know, it's really special to hear the story. So yeah,
hell yeah. Well, cool. Well, tell me about what was like your initial upbringing into cars, because everyone's got their own story, man. Everyone's got their uniqueness to it.
Definitely. So. I'll try to just hit on a few cliff notes because there's so much.
I'm sure you could take the whole podcast explaining that question.
Absolutely. I very well could, but just to hit the cliff notes, you know, I watched a lot of X Games growing up. X Games were super fun to watch for me, and
hell yeah.
Always wanted a dirt bike. My parents wanted to buy me one. They finally got me a go-kart. So I would go mow the lawn and mow a track into the backyard and destroy it. It was amazing. And later, Initial D came out. We would go to the mall and play the game. And then that's when all the option videos came out. I was in middle school. This guy, we'd sit on the back of the bus, and this guy who did autocross had a white FC RX-7.
Sick.
Even back then, it was already missing chunks of the paint, you know?
As they should.
And so we thought it was an S13. So we'd write on paper, cool
no.
S13, and put it on the back window. And like he would never look up. And I'm like, glad he didn't. And then like 4 or 5 years later, I'm at autocross and I saw him there and I was like, I'm not going to tell him that.
Yeah,
was
just
me.
don't even bring it up.
I was like
completely
12 or
embarrassed.
whatever. But yeah, man, like middle school, I mean, the import car world was booming. My friend's dad bought a brand new IS 300 and turboed it. And it was the coolest thing ever.
I love those cars, man. I'm a big sedan guy. So
Yeah. It was
I
just
love
cool.
those.
And like he had to send it to New York back then. And I actually ended up buying that car from him like last year. And now my other friend bought it from me and rips in it. And this dude has like 100,000 miles on it. It's cream puff. It's beautiful.
Man.
Beautiful car. Like all the buttons, none of the buttons are worn on. It's great. But anyways, again, I could spend the whole talk. I'll try to keep moving. So
No, you're good, brother.
yeah, man, initial D and stuff, and my friends and their dads. Growing up in Alabama as a car guy, interesting. So like, my other friend's dad, we started working construction when I was like 13 for his dad.
Mhm.
That was my first job, picking up trash.
I hear that.
Yeah, like
I did construction work myself.
okay,
So, yeah.
so
I framed houses for about 2 or 3 years.
you know the struggle, and I'm sure it gets as hot here as it does down there. So
Oh yeah, it's more humid than anything.
yeah,
that's the worst part. But
so yeah, man, we his dad had so many muscle cars, like 70 Camaro Z28 Rally Sport, still has it. 70 Chevelle SS 454, Volkswagen Bug. We got 2 Bugs, and those are like just the coolest little cars to me. He'd buy not everything, but most of his cars, he'd buy them just fully frame off resto, just self-taught, self-made Southern man, gentleman, like self-made guy. Built this whole construction company, had his own shop, paint booths, lifts. So that's like, we'd go over there. Every time I go, we just like look at the cars, sit in the cars, and it was so cool. Travel around to Super Chevy shows, to Memphis, Commerce, Georgia, Montgomery, just go to swap meets, look around at parts. Like, I remember buying a Sawzall back then, and I still have it. It still works, you know. And I was like a kid. I was like, "Hey, is this a good deal?" And they're like, "Yeah." I don't know. So I grew up like a lot of muscle cars and a lot of Japanese cars, and we didn't have much drifting. So I did a lot of autocross in my younger ages, and my first car was a '78 Camaro Z28.
oh shit, your first car.
First car. So I worked construction, and then
Big baller.
yeah. Well, I worked construction for like 2 years for him. $5 an hour, and we were balling back then because there were like 2 other guys who were working at our age, and they could only do paper route, and we were making way more than them at $5 an hour. So I was like, dude, this is great. Like, no one's working it. We got a head start. And then my neighbor owned a car wash, and when I applied, he's like, hey, you're not old enough to work here, but you're my neighbor. Like, just come on over.
We'll squeeze you through the cracks.
He's like, don't tell anyone how old you are, because we had to drive the cars, you know.
Yeah.
So I got to work there for a while, and I managed to come up with enough money. I think my dad had to spot me like $500.
Oh,
I'll pay you
that's
back.
tight though.
I'll pay you back one day, Pops.
One day.
But yeah, I never paid him back.
I forgot about that. By the way,
I never paid him back, but I've fixed his cars over the years and maintained them enough times.
there you go.
To where I think I've paid for myself now. And I mow the lawn a lot, you know.
He's fine.
So yeah, man, I bought that car at the Pigeon Forge Rod Run.
No shit.
My friend Zach Gossett that I worked with did the construction for his dad. Dude, buying cars when you don't know anything is so hard. I looked at so many cars, a 70 Nova, and it was frustrating. Every car was junk. He's like, I'm like, hey man, this car is beautiful. It's in my price range. He's like, it's junk. And I'm like, you didn't even look at it. And he goes, look at the quarter. And looking back, dude, the quarters were bubbling from the rust under them. And he's just like, dude, you don't know. And I was like, can we fix it? I was like, we can put a quarter on. I've seen you do it. And he's like, dude, it's a lot more work than you think.
Yeah.
And like, now that I'm older and like do quarters myself, I'm like, yeah, like some 15-year-old kid.
I'm glad you stopped me.
Yeah, exactly. So dude, like getting that solid car and finding the right car, We jetted up there, bought the car on the drive down, stopped in Chattanooga, spent the night with my grandmother at her house, showed her my car. That was so special to me. Then the car made it home. Later, we did a 5-speed manual in it, a T5.
Oh, shit.
Everyone said, oh, that transmission's going to break. Never broke. Drove to Panama City Beach like 3 times for like senior trip and stuff.
Damn.
Every 5 seconds, do a burnout. So every now and then I do a burnout. But
peer pressure's a bitch.
Dude, yeah. But it was fun too. Like that young man, we
Yeah.
we go to dead end roads and do burnouts all the time. But yeah, man, this is back in the I met Kevin White. Kevin,
Cheers to you, buddy.
shout out. Kevin White, bro. I got you.
I can't remember what. I think it was like episode 47, 46. No, this is 49. It must have been like 45.
Yeah.
I'll put it up on screen. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, Kevin's great. But I met Kevin back then. Like I was in early high school. We met through like the drift forums back then. But yeah, so
Good
the
old drift forums.
Camaro got a manual. It got QA1 coilovers, like Willwood front brakes. So it was like pro touring. That's when pro touring was really rising. But I was so young, but I was on like, there were a couple pro touring boards. And yeah, so I had the Camaro, and then Jay at Solvent Division, who's helped me out a lot since I was in high school, and we're still boys today. I bought my first S13 from him for $200 in, I don't know, 2000.
You just hurt a lot of people's feelings.
I know, man. But the quarter glass is busted out. There's like 20 beer cans in it. That took, forever to clean out. And yeah, but
I'm sure back in that was when aluminum was a big deal, though. You could
dude,
trade all that
yeah,
shit in, get
cash
some
it
cash,
in,
you know what I'm
scrap
talking
it, and buy another, But yeah, I bought it with the cylinder head off, and dude, I was in high school, and then Boozer built. Dana Westbrooks, good friend of mine as well. All these guys went to VC Tech. They're all older than me. There's a car college. And dude, people came from like Puerto Rico, like all over, and Jay's from Hawaii. He came from Hawaii. So I met car guys from all over the world. And you know how it was in 2006 or 7.
Yeah.
There's no Facebook. Like it was hard to get information. So then, boom, we have this car college in the city I lived in and grew up in. And like all these guys and friends from my high school I worked with, so we all met each other. And dude, from there on, it was just like just learning, and like all of them were older than me and knew way more than me. So like,
you just had a bunch of mentors. Around you.
And I was Camaro Mike. So anyone who calls me Camaro Mike,
shit.
I know you knew me back in the day. I was at this
crazy
hole in the wall pizza place like 4 years ago. And this dude looks at me and goes, Camaro Mike. And I was like, I don't know you, man, but I know you know me. And he said his name, and
I don't know how the fuck you know that name, but
I know, dude. And I was
let's talk.
I was like, I remember you. And I was like, dude, I haven't heard that. Because I had a 94 Z28 as well with the LT1 engine, which was awesome car, dude. I missed that car. I put the OptiSpark distributor in, and it was fine.
Why'd you get rid of it?
My buddy Nick Brown wanted it, and I was like, dude, I'll hook you up with it. My parents, are you sure you want to sell it? I'm like, yes, Nick. And, blah, blah, blah. Well, one night at 3 a.m. in his apartment complex parking lot, he totaled it in his parking lot.
Oh,
he was doing a burnout. Dude, those LT1s are burnout machines, dude.
Yeah.
And he hit a parked car. Alarm goes off. The horn goes off on the Camaro and wouldn't go off. He went and ripped the wires out. Oh, everyone came. Sorry, Nick, for telling this story. Love you, bro. I haven't seen you in a minute.
Gotcha, bitch.
Yeah, I hope you're doing good, man. Like, I miss you, dude. But yeah, that story is epic. But yeah, so that car, I sold it. My sister drove it a while. It was cool. And fun fact, my mom would even drive that car sometimes. She was like a special needs aide at an elementary school.
Oh, okay.
And like I would take the passenger seat out of my 78 Camaro to go to the drag strip and do a few rips, to make it faster. And like she was like,
a little bit of weight reduction.
Dude, one time I didn't even I put new Trans Am seats in it. She was driving it to work one day, and I didn't have them bolted in all the way. And I'm like, dude, looking back, I'm like,
oh shit.
I just told her, I was like, Mom, I'm sorry. Like, I've already rambled so far off subject, but yeah,
you're good.
I've just had influences. Being in Birmingham, Alabama, surprisingly, like on the rise of the internet, had a very diverse background, really, with like cars and people
That's good, though.
that you would not expect out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah.
And it was really cool, dude. I really enjoyed growing up there and just being close to Atlanta, Nashville, you know, Florida, all that, just being right there in the center.
It seems to be like a very prime location to hit all of the major events around here in the South.
You know, I meant everything you've seen on the movies is true. It's horrible. Don't ever move there. I mean, dude, it's just, we don't have power. Like, I run my YouTube off a generator.
What?
No, I'm kidding, dude.
I was about to say,
I'm trying not to turn it into Atlanta, you know, like, but no, Alabama's great.
Fair.
So I just had a lot of influences growing up from all over the place, dude. And this guy had a shop, Munich Sport, when I was a kid. E36 M3s were like new when I was a little kid. And he had like a Dakar yellow one sitting out, a Techno Violet E36, and we drive by and I'm like, dude, those cars are beautiful. And I was like a little kid, you know, just Hot Wheels.
Yeah, I remember when I was 14, 15, drooling over BMWs, mainly the E46s. But
yeah, those came out a little later after that. But my childhood was just heavily influenced by cars and, you know, Gone in 60 Seconds. And then I went when I was pretty young and got the original Gone in 60 Seconds, which most people don't know. Nicolas Cage was the second movie. Yeah. So the first movie was a great movie. You need to watch it. It's you know, it's very old now, but it's entertaining. It's
still a good movie.
But man, like just the characters and like just how authentic everyone and everything was before corporate America took over everything. It was so cool to see like real cars like in the 70s and 80s and all that. So Smokey and the Bandit, of course, you know, we're about that.
We're getting nostalgic here, man.
I know, man. So like just that movie alone, and of course the original Fast and the Furious. I remember like at my house, and this guy like came over. He had like a 95 Chevy truck with like some crazy, I think it was when Nitto, it might have been on Nitto tires, and they had this line in them, and I'm like, hey, what are those? And you know, he could tell I like cars. He's like, hey, there's this movie coming out, and they got a Charger, man, lifting the front end of it. It should be a good movie. And I was like, I'll go see it, and I did. And I was like, hooked.
See, I'm too young to understand that.
I barely
remember the feeling of what it was like when it came out, which sucks, but
epic, dude. I remember going. One of my friends came into town that like moved away and came back, dude. Again, I didn't even have a license. It was like a summertime. My birthday's in the middle of the summer, which is amazing. And we went to Blockbuster to rent the first Fast and Furious and watch it. My parents are like, are you sure you want to rent it? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, you might have a birthday present that, you know, you don't need to rent it. And I was like, I want to rent it. And then the next day, they're like, here you go. Here's
your DVD.
Yeah.
You don't even need to rent it.
It's a VHS.
Oh, well, yeah, sorry.
God, dude.
Damn.
I know. I'm 34.
I'm so fucking young.
I'm not that old, but like I am. It is.
I'm 10 years younger than you.
What? Oh, my God.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. When I was
I swear to God, I have an old soul, though. I grew up very militant because I come from a military family.
Oh, yeah,
I was growing up on classic rock. Like, yeah.
I do get military family. That's why everything's so, like, organized and in its place here. There's like, it makes sense. That's a good thing in my opinion. I like neat and organized.
Yeah, I can't.
I'm not always that way.
I won't be able to function without it. I'll say that.
I understand, dude.
I swear to God, sometimes I have ADHD, but I refuse to go to the doctor for it. Don't care.
I think you're fine, dude. Like, it's not like it's a bad thing. If your worst trait is you like to be organized, that's a good trait to have, man.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah. I like it, dude.
So explain how you kind of came from just being into cars to wanting to do drifting and pursuing that.
So one of those guys that Anthony Cavanis, guy I went to high school with.
Okay.
He was a grade above me. I started working at the car wash. He worked there. He had a Mark III Supra, silver.
This is where the Supra stuff.
Chicks always thought it was a DeLorean. Like we'd pull up somewhere.
What the fuck?
He'd be like, yeah, I got a Supra. And they're like, is that a DeLorean? And he's like, no. It's so funny, right? But a Mark III Supra is not a
Back
DeLorean.
to the Future, baby.
Yeah, let's go. But yeah, so I hung out with him. Like, I don't know. I was like, yo, he was so standoffish. He's like, what are you doing here, you meathead muscle car guy, you know? And I'm like, yeah, dude. Oh, this is what happened. There's this apartment complex, and there were two S13s sitting out. Both of them were $500. One hatch, one coupe.
Coupe, baby.
I was looking at the hatch. I was a hatch guy at the time. Roll up, looking at it. Dude comes out. Looked like you.
What?
Yeah, he looked like you. He came out and he's like, yo, what's up, dude? And I'm like, looking at this 13. He's like, yeah, it needs to be painted and that coupe over there needs a head gasket. Look over, it's Anthony. And I'm like, I'll work with that guy. And I like test drove it. Of course, his paint was faded, whatever. But it ran and drove, clean tile, whatever. And I was I should get this, you know. I don't even remember how old I was, 16, 17. I don't know. Couldn't really afford it, but it's $500, you know?
Yeah.
That was a lot of money back then, dude.
Thing's worth probably $5,000 now.
No, that was inflations ago. But so then like the next day, he came up to me and was like, hey, man, you getting that 240? And I was like, I don't think so, man. It's single cam, you know, it's like cool, but it's kind of slow. Like, but you know, whatever. It needs paint. I don't really paint, whatever. He's like, yeah, I don't know if I want that coupe. I probably have to swap it or something, blah, blah, blah. Then on we became friends. Started hanging out with all the VC Tech guys because that's who he hung out with. And went to his house. We'd hang out. We started watching option videos. And that was it, man.
Shit.
Option. We get on
is
his
what the trigger was.
we get on his PC. Big screen. Like the back of the screen's that long. We get on his PC and watch option videos, and I'm like, dude, these cars are loud. Visually loud, most importantly. And I'm like, they're turbo. I was like, dude, that's so foreign. And then he had a Mark III non-turbo. We take it to the drag strip. Zach 66 Nova, then my Camaro. So like, dude, we'd show up. I had HID headlights in it, and we'd show up to the track, and everyone would come up and be like, hey, man, where'd you get them purple headlights? And I'm like, internet. And they're like, what's the internet? And I'm like, dude, like that's...
Do your research. I don't know.
I'm so thankful to grow up when I did, because I got to see both sides of the world. Like, dude, we... like,
yeah. I hate my generation, man. I fucking hate it. I hang out with everyone older.
Really?
Always have.
You're an old soul, man. I can feel it on you. Like, you come off as like a
30-year-old.
That's a good thing, too. Like, I'm not saying you're old, but yeah. Dude, I just remember my friend in my neighborhood, he was, I guess, they were well off.
Yeah.
They had a brand new PlayStation, and Need for Speed Hot Pursuit came out, and that was a huge influence for me. Dude, you're pulling all this stuff out of me, man. I forgot about this.
It's the point of it.
Yeah, like the whole drive up, I was
nitty-gritty.
talking to Gummy and just like pulling out like memories, and I'm like, whoa. But dude, I remember firing up the PlayStation 1 and like just like Lamborghini cop car chasing a Lamborghini, and I'm like, dude, this is the coolest thing.
This is the life.
I've just been in like this. Every car. I have no brand. What do you call it when you're loyal? Brand loyalty.
Okay.
I have zero brand loyalty because I love so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can look at my small collection.
That's how I am, man. I love Nissans. I would probably say the best.
Right.
But dude, you really can't beat a Toyota.
Dude, they're so good.
Can't beat it.
I mean, dude, you have an FC and you have a Z. So like most people don't like, you know, my buddy Schroeder, he's like just
that doesn't
Nissans.
normally mix.
No, it doesn't. He's like just Nissan, and then he just bought that IS from me, you know. So he's branching out, and he's like, "Man, this is kind of good," you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, and he's like, "Kind of want to put this JZ over in 350Z," and I'm like, "Dude, just leave it alone." But
I almost went that route, man. I almost did a 1J, which is technically my favorite motor.
they're great. They're heavy,
but
they're great engines.
Yeah,
man. They really are. But yeah, dude, like, I love cars, dude. They're fun. Like, I just had all these influences throughout time and from the beginning, and I could just go on and on and on about everything that influenced me, and it's already been like 5 hours, so you know. But,
so what was your first drift car then?
My 78 Camaro. That was
that's right. Yeah.
I would drift it. Back then you could go to parking lots and they would just run you off and
get out of here.
Yeah, man. And like we washed all the policemen's cars at our car wash, so they would show us a little bit of grace, but on the flip side, they would screw with us more than anyone in the city, dude. Like,
I'm sure.
One night we're in that Camaro, is me and my buddy Richard, and I was like 16, dude. 94 Z28, you know. I got that later, but we're driving, and I'm like, oh crap, here comes a cop. Dude, we got pulled over one time in the Supra, we got pulled over 3 times in 10 minutes in a city that had 3 on-duty cops. We got pulled over by every cop on duty in like 10 minutes. We're like, you got to be kidding me. We're pulling into Zach's house, the one with the lifts and stuff and the paint.
Yeah.
Pulling in. Cop pulls up behind us. Hey, man, what are y'all doing? We're like, we're going to this house. Why aren't you pulling the driveway?
Driving down the road. What do you mean?
Why aren't you pulling the driveway? Car's too low and there's bump to get over the gate. And he goes,
Use your eyes, buddy.
Okay. That car had Silk Road coilovers on it, on that Mark III Supra. Silk Roads. Those are the jam back then. I did see a set of used ones.
Put it in the comments if you've ever even heard of that.
Silk Road. But yeah, dude, that thing was banging. He blew it up and put a 1J in it from Jarco. Put that, if you've heard of Jarco from North Carolina, maybe, or
that
Virginia.
Sounds right. I'm not 100% sure, but
they brought front cuts over. He had a front cut out of a Mark III straight out of Japan. There was a S13 SR front cut, and there were 2 turbo diesel Toyota SUV front cuts, which I guess, what would that have been? A 4Runner over there, or a Land Cruiser over there?
No idea.
Hilux? I don't know, but we were like, what are those? And he's like, those are turbo diesel Toyota engines. And we're like, what do you do with those?
I would probably say a Hilux. That would be my guess.
Hilux. I don't know. I should know this better. I don't know.
If we're wrong, let us know.
Yeah, sorry, dude.
I'll tell you. Sorry.
I got a FJ80, but I don't know. That's all I know. I don't know. It's a sweet truck, but yeah. And we were like, he's like, dude, people over here love these things. And yeah, man, just having his front cut and going through it and finding yen under the carpet and stuff, that was the coolest thing. But yeah, him and his dad swapped it, and that engine's still around today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I ended up.
Well, tell me real quick, what's the craziest story you've got as far as car related?
Almost killed my brother-in-law one time.
God damn. All right. How you want to? Let's run through that real quick.
Dude. So like,
glad we're past 15 seconds. I'll say that.
This dude had like, it was called AO Drift back in the day. We had like a little message board.
Yeah.
Way back then.
I think I've heard of that before.
Really? This local guy, David, like tried to bring it back a few times, and it's like cool to see the name. Like he'll make I think there's an Instagram page with it, but the dude who started it, he just does like mountain biking stuff now, and he do like Harley stuff. But anyways.
Yeah.
Bro, what were we talking about?
Craziest like car related story. Yeah.
All right.
You good.
This dude from Sylvia, I was at I went to college at UAB. I got my degree in finance, minor in accounting. I wanted to learn business because everyone always said, if you want to get into motorsports, you learn business, how to run a business, all that, because, you're taking marketing classes, law classes, legal, astronomy. I went deep in astronomy, bro.
We'll save that for off camera, because I could go deep on that too. I'm very interested in weird shit.
So interesting. Just go look up in the sky one night if you're ever feeling lonely. It's like crazy. Anyways, went to UAB. Blah blah blah. Reconnected with this guy from Sylvia. He had a Kooky, and I was like, dude, that's cool. You got that Kooky, whatever. 97 240 4-lug. He's like, hey man, you want to buy it? And I was like, sure. $3,700, clean title, 97. Base model, I think it was a slick top.
No way.
Yep. We did a 5-lug swap on it, and I put 19s off a G35 with the raised 19.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
They didn't look right. I didn't have the car low enough. Trade.
I've always thought those wheels look goofy anyways.
They look goofy on it for some reason. Great wheels though, but bought that car. I was on Sylvia. A dude had an RB26 S13 with a Skyline
RB the world, baby,
and rear conversion. It looked just like an R32 minus the quarter glass.
Oh, wow.
So I was working as a diesel tech at the time. I started doing that in high school.
Okay.
Dude. So used his truck, and then I was also working part-time at a hot rod shop and used his trailered it down because he's like, dude, the car won't make that drive. And I was like, okay, go down there. Check it out. This is a long time ago, but it had like a 20 trans in it, whatever. He's like, dude, it needs ball joints. Like, don't drive it. I was like, okay, well, I need to test drive it. And he's like, dude, good luck. And I was like, okay. So I drove it, and dude, the thing was like shaking like crazy. And it probably made like 500 wheel. Had like 70 trim turbo. RB26 S13, dude. It's freaking great.
Shit.
So like, my brother-in-law, I get it home. My brother-in-law comes over. I was like, dude, you got to ride in this thing. Like,
yeah.
that car was amazing. Boost, dude, the lag was insane. You floor it, and like 10 minutes later, you're in the back seat. Like, and it had like leather Z32 seats, so you would slide up the seat.
It's like those the fair thing that spins really fast and it goes slide up. Yeah,
dude, that was us. And like they were leaned back and they're electric and they didn't have them wired in, of course. So I was like, dude, like, you know. So we get on like the highway and he's like, dude, I don't know, man. Like, this feels weird. And I was like, dude, it's so fast, though. Don't worry about that. And the guy in the car next to us was looking at us like this. And I was like, I don't know what he's looking at.
Yeah.
Dude, I did a pull in it, like third gear pull. And there's like a bridge, like down in the railroad tracks, not even water. And like, it was like, dude, about to rip the steering wheel out of my hand.
Oh, I'm sure.
He was about to just have a heart attack. We pull off the road and the tire comes off. Like the whole wheel and tire come off. He had slim lug nuts on like DSM wheels.
Oh no.
It slid over the lug nuts and off the car. I was like, dude, if that had happened like, 10 seconds ago, we could have gone off that ravine and we would have both been toast.
Oh,
dude, I don't even think it had seatbelts. I think it had lap belts and that was it.
That's sketchy as fuck, dude.
So,
fuck that.
I parted that car out and put that motor in a clean Zinky. So yeah,
there you
that
go.
Was sick. It was a sweeper boy. And then I traded it for an FDR X7.
Hell yeah. Well, tell me a little bit more about the VQ cars, because I know you had the Z and what, G35, right?
Yeah, man. So I guess 2016 is when I started getting serious about drifting. I got a 4-door E46, and me and Jay were living in one big house separated into 5 units, and they all had 2-car garages under them. Crazy. And then Matt Schroeder lived in one of them. He ran KMS and stuff. Yeah. He came up with them like Human was starting and stuff. So this was like a while back. He had an SR car. Jay always had SR cars and JZ cars. So bought the E46. My buddy's like, dude, I want that E46. So I traded it for his 2-door G35, 6-speed Brembo car.
Sick.
It's kind of rough, but I got it, welded the diff, PVM angle kit, went and did Little Talladega. Different Little Talladega. Talladega Grand Prix.
I was about to say.
That's
it wasn't around.
No, it wasn't. It's a road course. But drifted it and went to like Import Alliance in Atlanta, and I was like, dude, this is something. Yeah. And I remember like Greg Bussell coming up and he's like, dude, this thing's stock, isn't it? And I was like, stock airbox. And he was like, leave it that way. Let's go.
Yeah.
Because dude, the car was like shredding,
Dude, I tell everyone that for VQs, man.
Dude.
Don't put a catch can on it. Don't put shit on that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Just work on the suspension. That's it.
Had 210,000 miles. Smelled like straight black ice, dude. Like high score air freshener, black ice from AutoZone. The best air freshener ever. Smelled great in the car. It had a welded diff, and we put the PBM angle kit on it. And dude, it was a ripper.
Did you like the PBM?
Oh, I loved it, dude.
Really?
Dude, just the
I've
lower...
heard so many issues with PBM, especially on Zs.
I don't know. So just their lowers, I think, are like $900. It's the radius arm and then the lower control arm. $900. I want to say it's
FDF,
factory knuckle.
Baby, grab it.
I know.
Link in the description.
Yeah, but buy FDF. But the PVM was great, dude. Like I didn't have the knuckle, the upper arm, nothing. Stock upper arms, all stock rear arms. Did freaking great, dude.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
that's
so
cool.
I pulled those parts off and sold that car. And I bought the Blue 350Z, which is, I guess, when people started probably seeing who I am, because that's when I really started traveling to go to drift events and meeting people and doing better with drifting in general. So put the PBMs on it. Bought brand new fuel coilovers for it. Thank you, Odie. Gave me a little bit of discount back then, which was nice. So that's when I became a believer in like really good coilovers. But so the Z was bought it not running. I'm a very lucky guy. I know that.
Yeah.
I really know that. But I bought it like not running, like beautiful car. The paint was beautiful, full interior, everything. He said it was like locked up or whatever. I went home and put a battery terminal on it and fired it up, drove it around.
No fucking
dude,
way,
that's happened
dude.
so many times.
Oh my god. I wish.
Dude,
how much you pay for it?
$2,500 maybe.
Wow.
And this Alabama car, we're spoiled in Alabama. Everything's, you look up under any Alabama car, like Gummy's truck has 360,000 miles, and you look under and it looks like it has 50,000.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we're spoiled in Alabama.
It's not a huge problem here normally, but if you go up in like Kentucky or a little bit further,
Right.
you got to be a little bit more cautious.
Every time someone gets to like final bout, they come back and they're like, dude, those cars are all so rusty.
Yeah.
And they're like,
I've heard
dude,
those
like,
stories.
the best car up there, I want it touched with a 10-foot pole, dude. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, dude, they're just rough up there. Like, but I get it, man. There's nothing you can do about it just besides not driving it like half the year, you know, and that sucks. But we're spoiled, man. But yeah, dude, I bought a E46 from Justin Hart at Hard Parts. I think he cruised for Adam Napick, if I'm saying that right. He hates me, dude. He put every part on this E46. It was a 330 4-door 5-speed. Every part. Bought it from him. He's like, dude, just come get it. I think it was like $2,000 or $1,000. I unplugged the DME for whatever reason just to look at it, and I plugged it back in and it fired right up.
What the fuck?
He was so mad. I was like, dude, I'm lucky, dude.
God,
like,
dude.
dude, when I tell people I'm lucky, they're like, hey,
pisses
man,
me
like,
off.
there's preparation, there's this, there's that. And I'm like, and timing, I'm like, dude, there is, but there's a lot of luck involved. Like,
Maybe you need to go turn the key on my FC. Maybe that's what I need.
Dude, I'll give it a rip, dude. I'm a rotary guy. I love rotaries. I love everything, man.
Yeah.
But
I don't know fucking shit about them,
Yeah.
but I'm going to figure it out.
I'll tell you my VQ stuff though. So like we had the Z, and then so my buddy Chris Ward at Top Garage did the cage in it. It was the first time he did a cage for me, and
He does some pretty good work. I've
Oh,
seen
yeah.
some of his work.
for sure. So dude, that 350Z, I gutted it. Like no AC, took the rack out of the rear before he did the roll cage, and did a flash tune from Z1. It is a up rev tune.
Yeah.
And like second gear in a Z, if you don't know this, doesn't let you go 100% full throttle apparently
Yep.
until you tune it, because it's like a traction safety thing, I guess. Dude, that alone, 350Z, angle, good coils. I had a hydro in it. Was so fun. Just NAVQ. I have like some of my oldest videos on my YouTube. It's just ripping around mid pond. This is the perfect mid pond car.
Oh, yeah.
And then had moth wheels come on in, I believe, 16 or 17, and we did the Gretty twin turbo kit on it, and that's when it got wild. We were having fuel issues, and you just have to run a full tank of fuel in that thing.
Dude, see, that's a funny thing because a lot of people that had Z's around me had to do that.
Yeah.
I would literally run mine until fucking E.
No.
Never had a fuel slosh issue, nothing.
I never did until it was
Don't
turbo.
understand it.
I'd run it on E2, and then when we put a big
Okay,
pump in
okay.
it was over. I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And one of my buddies was
And the
like,
fact that they're not they don't have a return line, that really confuses
oh,
me.
yeah, like the deadhead. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So,
so
like,
stupid to me.
I remember just going through issues. My buddy was like, dude, I promise you I'm not calling you stupid, but just, and he's a rotary guy, he's an FD guy, ARC 7 FD ARC 7.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, just put more fuel in it. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, when you hit boost, like it cuts out. I was like, yeah. And then he's like, I'm telling you. Because I guess the car goes faster and all the fuel goes to the back of the tank.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but like I lost so many battles because I'd throw it in a turn and it just shut off. And I'm like, idiot, man. If back then, like I knew, like fill it up all the way and leave it full, you know, which the first drive out. So my Supra, the first drive in it was at Clutch Kickers with Taylor Hole behind me. And I'm like, hey, dude, just take it easy. I've never driven this car before. My first time to ever drive it was at a competition. And like, we're going, I'm like, oh, dude, this is freaking good, right? Car shuts off and he, boom, hits me square in the rear. Bumper comes off, brand new BN Sports rear bumper. Just a little scratch on it. And I was like, dude, that was the best anyone's ever hit me before.
Yeah.
If you could do that every time, we're good. His car went messed up. It was hilarious. But yeah, always full tank of fuel, man.
Yeah. Oh, I hear that.
But yeah, other than the fueling issues, man, the VQ is great. Martin put a kill tune on it. And he said, dude, Z's are really cool cars. He's like, hit the cruise control 3 times or whatever. This will flash, and then you're on your second tune. It goes from making 380 wheel. I got it making as much power as you can on stock internals.
That's crazy.
When you put ARP rod bolts on it, turn it up to this, you should be making 440 wheel. I think he did one pull on it and made like 440. And dude, it's a beast, man. So I ordered ARP rod bolts right away, put them on a shelf in my garage. Didn't ever put them on because that's a lot of work. And I freaking windowed it at Import Alliance in Atlanta. Yeah, that was cool. Oh, but it was fast while it lasted. Martin was right, though.
I do want to get into Supra soon, but tell me that story real quick.
Which one? The Z?
Yeah.
How it blew up?
Yeah.
So the limits of a Z is like 380 wheel, which I don't know what time.
Was it a DE?
Yeah, it was a D. Non-rev up, just basic D.
Okay.
Yeah. I like to keep things very simple with cars. So I got, it wasn't intentional. It was just cheap. I didn't like seek out a DE. It was just HRs at the time were more expensive.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, like the car was amazing. It was a ripper. And when we put the twin turbo kit on, it was great. It was just the fueling issues, which if I'd known now what I know then, I would know just keep it full tank in it. And like, I think Radium had just came out with the surge tank setup and all that. But VQs are great, man. Like they're so rough now, man. Like every Z I come across now is rough.
And
like,
they still want $5-6 grand for them too, which is insane.
Yeah, like I bought one, I don't know, a few months ago. And we've been doing the drift school at Mid Pond, me and Taylor Hull. It's Taylor's school. I just go instruct. But I bought a Z to have as like another school car, backup car or whatever. And man, they're just so rough. And even that car was like still a lot more than I paid for other ones in way worse shape. And had to pull the motor, put a clutch in it, like all kinds of like crazy. Dude, like they put a collar on the flex plate from an automatic VQ. And the starter was grinding. I was like, why would you do that? Why? But dude, that car had a VLSD, stock angle, lowering springs. Took it to Mid Pond on like a school day.
Lowering springs?
Rip, dude.
So none of the rear alignment was correct whatsoever.
No, I didn't even put plates on it. I was like, dude, let's just go. So like, yeah, it had lowering springs on it. And yeah, so I took it out and it was just self-steering all by itself. And it was fun, dude. You could throw some pretty good angle in it too.
Yeah.
Like no handbrake, so you just have to like slow, like really just feather it around. And dude, it was just stock VQ. And I was like, I need to know if this thing's strong, gonna break. So I just like beat the brakes off it like 3 laps and pulled in. And it was great. And yeah, man, that was fun. The drift school has been pretty cool to be a part of that. I've gotten to drive so many different cars. Like, dude, it's been a lot of fun. Like,
we'll definitely get into that because I guess
there's a lot to get into.
Yeah,
dude. Hey, go grab a drink, some popcorn,
grab
get
the
comfortable.
Popcorn, baby. This is good.
You know,
It'll be a long one. Y'all been asking for it, so
if y'all want a long one, dude, I'm down, dude.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Let's go.
Well, tell me a little bit about the Supra. Where is it at right now? What's its current state?
It is in the trailer, ready for Drift Wars.
Damn, so you already loaded up and everything.
I never unloaded it.
That's the key, baby.
My whole life, like,
don't do your bolts check; it'll go wrong.
Oh yeah, no, do that at the track, man. Like, so like when I was working at that diesel shop, he used to drag race, and he got back into bracket racing because I was like, dude, look at this car. Like, he had like full fiber. I don't even know what it was, like full fiberglass, big block, and then he had like whatever. Bunch of cars. I go crew for him at the drag strip doing bracket racing.
Okay, cool.
And he had like enclosed trailer and stuff. And we'd roll up at like 2 a.m. And I'm like, we leave it in the trailer. That was the best thing. And I'm like, dude, like I have to unload mine or someone's going to steal something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like water's going to get in because there's no windows. So like now that I have an enclosed trailer, I take full advantage.
Oh, I would. Yeah.
So
I would too.
I haven't unloaded it since my last video where we took the LS out and put the 2J in it. And it's still covered in the dirt from the last thumbnail that Jay went off track. And it was actually refreshing to go off track at Mid Pond and there be dust come up and not mud. So
that I will advocate for that. That's very true.
I'll take the dust all day, baby. You just blow it off and it's gone. The mud, you gotta pressure wash. Yeah. So yeah, the Supra, man, it's ready to go. We're doing Drift Wars, July 30th at Mid Pond. It is technically kind of a private. It's like spring break. So just message me if you want to come drive. Preferably advanced level drivers, but we're not turning anybody down. We're doing some like grudge battles. I think everybody will enjoy that. I'll have the Supra out there. My quick change is not going to be here in time for the Corvette, so we'll probably be staying at home. But I'll bring the 911 Turbo out, and we'll see what kind of lap times we can do while we're there.
Oh yeah,
Kill two birds with one
basically, if you want to bring your grip car and see if you can hang,
why not, dude? Like, yeah, man, the Supra, dude, it's been great, dude. And I had a Stroker LS in it, then we had the LS3 in it, and now we got the 2J in it. It's been a trip, dude.
That's one of my questions I had. Was I've seen it's gone through so many variations,
Right?
Not only with just the engine package, but like, I mean, the exterior, everything. Like, you've gone through some generations with it.
Yeah, it's weird because we bought the car. Me and Jay at Solvent Division again. We do a couple things together. Dude, he used to come pick me up. He'd get in his truck. I had a trailer. He had a 6.7 Dodge. He'd come over. Hey, man, I'm on my way. Cool. He'd just show up like clockwork on the weekends.
Yeah.
I get in the truck. We'd scrounge together some cash. Start calling people, texting people, Craigslist, Marketplace. We could just go buy parts, buy cars, whatever, dude.
That's sick.
We just have some fun, dude. When we have more time, and we just like find stuff, dude.
Good old days.
We found SRs, like, dude, all kind of cool cars and stuff. But really, this kind of dried up so much, it's hard to like really do that anymore. But
yeah.
So we went to Ohio and bought the car. I made some risky moves when COVID hit. So I was ready to do Pro-Am in 2019. So I wanted to build a Pro-Am car. So I had the black E36 with a Stroker LS in it. And as a ripper, I bought it from my buddy Hussey, who I met back in those VC Tech days, and I'm still boys with him today. And so bought that. COVID hit. I was like, screw it, man. I want a Supra. Like, I've always wanted one. Like, I think if I sell this, and that, I can go buy one. So put the word out. Some guy messaged me and was like, hey, man, my son has one. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, this is how you
it's
find
about
deals.
to happen.
This is how you find deals, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, message him back, never heard back from him. Like, go on his profile, find everyone with the last name as him. I felt like a high schooler when you're like stalking someone that you like. You got
Don't
like
call yourself out
on.
now. Let's
It's like I have a crush on someone. Like, you know, in high school, you're like, I have a crush on someone, and you go like Facebook stalk or
I'm just
MySpace, whatever day you grew up in. But anyways, I like found what should have been his son. I messaged him, was like, hey man, are you the guy with the Supra for sale? I was like, your dad messaged me. And he goes, yeah man, sitting behind a restaurant, whatever. I was like, sweet. So me and Jay loaded up. We took my truck, and I think we took a U-Haul because his trailer at the time had just gotten stolen.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, that sucked. We had a shop and it got stolen, so that sucked. So we had to get a U-Haul. We went to I don't know, somewhere in Ohio, and Columbus.
Okay.
Bought this Supra, $14,500 for a shell, but it had most of the interior, and the title was clean, but it had a history similar to Lindsay Lohan.
God, what a fucking...
It was rough.
What an example. What the fuck?
It was rough, big dog. Dude, red mark, total loss. And I'm like, yikes. Hey, I don't care. And I was like, dude, this thing got frame damage or what? But we got a frame machine. We're like, whatever.
Yeah.
Went up and it was usable. And I was like, we can live with this. So like he threw in some other parts. So I got it for like $14,500 in a trip to Ohio.
Okay.
And then, dude, I swear I got in the driveway and then those things just, COVID. And then I bought a house, I guess I'm a wheeler dealer. I traded my house for the house I'm in now when COVID hit.
How do you trade a house? What the fuck? I bought mine right before COVID happened, so I understand like getting the good deal and really getting it at the right time. But
family friend had it. It was like trying to get me to buy it. He was trying to rent it. No one rented it. No one, like the world stopped. No one was doing anything.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, like blah blah blah. Like come get this house. Like I finally went in it and I was like, dude, this got a flat driveway. Before my driveway, I had to like concrete drill an eyelet in the ground. And I would get to come along and like have to ratchet my cars up the driveway into the garage. Yeah, I've been through some stuff.
dude, I had the FC when I went and picked that up. The driveway dude had was steep, and I didn't have a winch.
That's sketchy.
He had a
ratchet.
cheap Harbor Freight come along that I
Yeah.
had to just fucking sit there and.
Dude, I've had to do that so many times. But yeah, man, I just got the Supra in the house at like a very risky time, and it paid off. It's impossible to time the market, but that timing worked out well. And then I ended up getting, actually, that wasn't my first Supra. I had one before that.
Oh,
Yeah.
was it?
I think I've had, I don't know how many I've had.
So was it a Mark IV too, or
Yeah.
was it? Oh wow, okay.
Dude,
Was it a drift car, or it was
it's
just a street
rough,
car?
dude. It never made it to the road.
Oh,
It was rough. It looked like it got
What was
burned
wrong with it?
down. It had so many wood screws holding the wide body on it. Like the quarters were just so warped. Had been in a rear end collision.
I'm fast as fuck,
that's
boy.
not it. It was
I'm a half price hot boy.
there you go.
Dude, it wasn't even half price, bro. But I threw my work equips on
Got
it.
the 2 cent hot boy.
I'm gonna send you this picture to flash up.
Oh, okay, perfect.
This is when it looked good. This picture you're seeing right here, this is after I stripped the wide body. I can't remember the name of the wide body kit on it. It looked horrible. The car was very rough, and I took it, blew it apart. Huge buckle in the floorboard under the back seat, and I was like, "Cool, this thing has been totaled." Which, like, if you ever want to buy a Supra, specifically a left-hand drive, be very, very, very careful, because most of them have been wrecked hard.
I've heard
So,
that before. Yeah,
I was pretty gutted when I found that, and like I'm way too particular than I should be about drift cars.
Mm-hmm.
So ended up selling that car to Jay, I think. I don't know what I did with it.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's gone. I think it got cut up or something. And
I
then
don't
I got
even know
this
anymore.
one. And then I don't know. I got like another one, and yeah, I don't know. And then sold it, and then another one and sold it. Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Well, whenever you got this current Supra,
The
was
purple
it,
one.
Yeah. Okay. So was it always meant to be a drift car, or were you
Yes.
just okay?
I said, COVID hit. There's no drifting this year. You just had Ryan Sage on. Did he sit in this chair?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm sitting in the same chair as Ryan Sage.
Hell yeah,
Is his middle name?
dude! I
Jay?
swear to
Ryan
God,
J.
his
Sage?
I don't know.
I just made that
actually.
up. Sorry.
I have no idea.
What were you saying?
He was one. I swear to God, he was one of the most humble dudes I have
Yeah.
ever met in my life. I was not expecting it, but
He seems
he's
really cool. I've never
really
talked to
cool.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems like a great dude. But what was I talking about?
The Supra being a drift car
Yeah.
from the jump. Yeah.
So COVID hit. FD was struggling. They're like, there's a lot of talks on the inside, like, this is a little
Mhm.
dicey. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and build. Like, I want to compete. I've been wanting to compete forever. Like since I was in high school, I went through to do everything how I'm supposed to do it. Went to school, all that. So I want to put together a good drift car, and I was like, I want a Supra. I love them. They've always been like a fantasy. Let's go. Like let's just do it. So I got it, and on the drive home, I was like, I took a bunch of pictures and was messaging Supra guys that I've already sold parts to before. Hey man, I just got this, and like one dude was like, yeah, dude, Supra parts. If you don't know, Supra parts are almost all discontinued. There's only 11,000 left-hand drives made in the world, and then whatever Toyota made, like parts-wise, that you could go buy. Like, so say before they discontinued parts,
Yeah.
say they made, I don't know, 1,000 door panels they had in stock, and that's it,
Mhm.
So I'd sold off almost all the interior before I got home from Ohio.
Holy shit!
So gutted it.
Damn.
Threw an LS in it. I think it was like 3 months till clutch kickers, and I had a SC300. and I went and I competed at the first Clutch Kickers in 2019 with the E36 BMW. Lost to Alex Schlegel, who had a supercharged LS, and I was like, cool, I finally got power. And I roll up and I look over and I'm like, what's up, dude? You got an LS? And he was like, yeah. And I was like,
Plus some.
a supercharged? And he's like, yeah, I think it's the LSA blower. And I was like,
wow.
Sick,
Okay.
dude. Cool. And I was like, God, dude.
Good luck
So
to me.
He just drugged me. So I was like, got in my truck and I was like, well, I need a supercharger or something now.
Nope.
So ended up putting that engine in that Supra. Yeah. So Taylor was like, hey man, get the Supra done. I was like, all right. So then I bought a SC that had an OS3 in it and went and ran Clutch Kickers and got knocked out in 64 to Sean Booth, who I lost to like 3
Good old
times.
Booth.
Yeah, dude. Like I've not beat him. Like it's been like, I think he took
He's
me out
hard
twice.
to beat.
I think he took me out twice.
He's a pro killer.
Dude, one time we had a one more time and we both were like in the zones perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And like I couldn't shake him and he ended up winning. But yeah,
Good old
so
Boothie boy.
yeah, man, I had that SC and it sucked. It was just full interior, still had a working sunroof, meant door panels, and then Taylor was like, dude, finish the Supra, like go start on the Supra. I was like,
Yeah.
all right.
No.
So in 3 weeks, I slammed like the LS in it out of the BMW, got a Sicky swap kit. I was on PBM knuckles, all kinds of stuff, and like took it to Chris. He did a cage for me real quick and was like coming back. Someone got killed on the interstate, so I got stopped in traffic. I slept in my truck for like 9 hours on the interstate on the way home from Atlanta. Maybe 8 hours. I don't know. I don't remember.
Either way, that's a long ass time.
I went through a lot in like 3 weeks, like throwing that car together. And then we showed up at the track and pull in. And dude, this is hilarious. So like sitting there in the pits and I got his name was Mike. He had a Boss S14 orange one.
Yeah.
It's pretty proper. I think like Rick with RTS was there. But anyways, we battled him and beat him. And I was like, let's go. You know, like first event in the car, we got to win, you know? So like pulling the pits and this dude's like sitting there and he looked kind of familiar. And I just started telling him, I was like, dude, you know, great battle. That was a lot of fun. Like, dude, it was fun, man. I was like right on him and we just had a great heads up battle. And I was like, what's your name, man? He's like, oh, I'm Mike. I was like, oh, cool. We're all Mikes. It's 3 Mikes here. And he's like, yeah. And he was like, I got a Supra too. And I was like, oh, yeah, cool. You know, like, dude, it's everyone. Like, I got a Supra too. And he's like, oh, cool. And they're like, yeah, it's a Mark III. And I'm like, oh, that's cool, you know?
Yeah.
Rarely is it like, he's like, yeah, it's a Mark IV. And I was like, oh. And I'm Mike Perez. And I was like, oh, what's up, dude?
Shit,
Hey,
what
man,
the fuck?
this is random. And he was like, yeah, what's up, dude? And he was like,
That's crazy.
he's like, man, you pulled up and like I had the work equips on it. I just like polished them and like did the car like all new
Baller as
panels, new
fuck.
BN kit. And he was like, man, I was like, dude, this guy drive this car. And I looked under it and it's okay, Mike. Dude, I took all my wiring. I had like painless wiring and I didn't have time. I was going to put power windows in it. I took all of it and just wrapped it up in electrical tape. He was like, dude, I looked under your like dash and I was like, oh, he drives this car.
Yeah.
He's just like, let's go.
Telltale signs, baby.
Yeah, dude. So like the first outing in that car, man, I think I got it in the top 16. So that was great,
cool.
man. We won some battles and like Kevin was going nuts, dude. It was fun. Kevin White was crewing for me. Kevin's helped me out a lot. Yeah, dude, it was magical. So I have a lot of really good memories in that car. Just me and Jay going to get it in Ohio to like throwing it together. And then I'd like, in between events, I'd go back. I went through and thinned out, cleaned up the wiring and loomed everything. And then after another event, swapped another motor in it.
What was it?
Yeah, no, like Kenny Slides was coming up. Him and some of his boys were coming up to drive Mid-Pond. And he was like, hey, man, I'm on my way. I was like, cool. It was like a 12-hour drive. And I like sent him a picture of the Supra. And I was like, pulling the motor out. He's like, what? And I was like, I'm putting this LS3. I'm taking the stroker out. And he's like, he seemed kind of bummed. And I was like, oh, he doesn't think I'll have it done. So I was like, game on, boy. Let's go. So like, he showed up. I had the new motor. Like, I think I just put the new engine in and it was like bolting it down. And he was like, man, you sure you're going to have it done? I was like, I got you, dude. I was like, go get some sleep, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And he came back down and he like, it was a fun night, man. It was one of those like delirious, like on no sleep nights,
Mhm.
and got the car done, went out, and we had a blast. I was having a little bit of issues, like electrical. I was like, what's going on? Like, popped the hood. I was like, oh, cool. There's no engine ground. Like, I was that tired, Threw an engine ground on it, dude. And we had such a fun day, man, just ripping at mid-pond.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man, that car. And then we finally blew it apart and painted it. And right when we painted, that's when that dude in blue came over and drove the car. Yeah.
Tight. Okay.
Yeah, right. Dude, the paint was still sticky. I was like, don't touch it.
Be careful. It might run.
yeah, dude. It was like, it's a real candy paint job. Everyone's like, what wraps that? I'm like,
Oh, it's real
candy.
candy.
Yeah, it's real candy. Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
it's got
cool.
a metallic silver base with the eye candy vexing. It's I think it's from like Custom Colors. I can't remember who.
Did you do that yourself or?
No, Jay did, dude. He's a paint
Oh, that's
wizard,
okay.
dude. He's good. So that's the same color as his hog.
Nice.
Hog's a motorcycle in Alabama. I guess it's like that everywhere, right?
Everywhere in the South, at least.
Yeah.
Let us know if not.
Yeah. What do you call I want to know what they call like motorcycle, like Harleys in like Europe and Australia. I wonder if they call them hogs.
Yeah. To all the outside U.S. viewers, what do you call a motorcycle?
Yeah,
Let us
no,
know.
a Harley in particular.
Or a Harley, yeah, a Harley.
What do you call Harleys? Y'all call them hogs over there?
Are Harleys even outside the U.S.? Like
Oh
that?
yeah, dude. There was someone shipping.
I know they are, but I didn't know how big they were outside the U.S.
There was someone in the drift world, I believe, who was shipping and importing Harleys into Australia. I can't remember who it was.
Wow.
Yeah, and they were like doing very well doing it. I do believe. I can't remember who it was, or maybe it was one
That's
of the.
cool.
It might have been one of the Cannonball guys. I get all those communities gonna.
Yeah, they all run together,
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. But that dude in blue came over and drove the car, and like I just loosened it up and put some good Falcons on it, dude. And he I was like, I was doing a video too, because like I've been instructing and stuff, and it had been going well. I was like, hey man, like I love what you're doing, like come on over. And so of course he's like, dude, I'd love to. So he came over and we had a blast, and
he was a good dude.
He's ripping right out the gate, and I was like, dude, I'm supposed to like teach you how to drift.
Nah,
and he's like,
don't need to.
Like hung out with Josh Robinson, and we did like ice drifting or whatever they did, and I'm like, okay,
makes sense.
I mean, he's driven like 1,300 cars, I think now. So
Yeah,
when you drive
it's absurd.
1,300 different cars, you're gonna get a good feel for it. And like in drifting, man, you drive with your feet and your butt. Like you feel it in your butt, and you drive a drift car with your feet.
Well, tell me about some of like the more, I guess, known issues that Supras have for drifting specifically. Did you ever have to go through anything, fixing anything, stuff like that?
Oh yeah, dude. So like, I got the car. Cut knuckles were cool, but I needed more. Put Wise Fab on it, and the car was so slow. I was like, what is going on? I was like, I got all the Ackerman in it. Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, started screwing with it, messing with things. And then all the Top Garage guys came over, and someone's like, dude, you're wearing out my brake pads. Like, go. Like, stop going so slow. And it was like, just would fall to full lock. Jay drove it. He's like, dude, I don't know, man. Like, this doesn't make sense. So then, like, randomly, Dan started talking to Dan. Right? Yeah. Dan, he has very successful Supra driver, and he was like, hey man, like, can I like tell you something? And I was like, please, I'm about to get rid of this car. And he's like, what are you doing with your front suspension? I told him I had my Ackerman plates on backwards, so that was full negative.
Oh shit,
dude, I changed that. He gave me a few tricks. I don't know if he wants me to share them, so I'm not going to, but
that's fair.
Oh my God, dude. I did those things. Like, I drove the car, pulled it in, did what he told me to do. Oh my God. It's like my favorite car ever now. Like, and like Dan even says, he's like, the Supra's not the best drift car. And I'm like, dude, after driving mine, I'm like, how is it not? Like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
The wheelbase similar to an S14. Like, Chris said when he put the cage in that the quality of the car, like, I guess the gauge of the steel, like in the rails and the frame rails, he's like, dude, this thing's like beefy.
Yeah.
And I think he's the one that told me like S15s are kind of the same, like the quality of like the rails and everything. Because the newer the car, the safer they are, the better materials and high strength steel and stuff like that. If you're in the collision industry,
crumple zones, all sorts of shit.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, man, it was cool. Like it's because that was the first Supra he did. He did another one. But dude, like the car is just a rocket now, and like with an LS in it, it was great. With a JZ in it, it's like it's
10 times better, I'm sure.
dude. Don't hate me, LS guys, but the JZ is way more fun to drive. Than
Fuck
the
your
V8.
LS. I don't care. Hate me.
No, it's not that though. It serves a purpose. You have the JZ is amazing. It's so much fun on the street, so much fun on the track. But like if I was trying to tandem with someone and like keep up in competition with the JZ, I do have an older turbo. Like it's so laggy, it's hard to like have that be right there.
Yeah, you gotta
on
really
someone.
keep it up, the RPMs up.
Oh yeah, you got to keep it. It's a lot of clutch work. And then the LS wasn't that, so you're not as hard on your drivetrain. Dude, I don't ever. I'm lucky. I don't ever break
you better
stuff.
knock on wood, brother.
I broke like one axle on the E36, I think. Like I rarely break things, so like, I just find myself being like easy on like the clutch and stuff. Like I usually run the RPMs up and kind of let the clutch out slower and use the clutch, and it's less shock on the drivetrain. And I think that's kind of how I've been successful in that sense, because I beat a lot of people because their cars broke, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not about just being the best driver. You have to be everything now if you want to make it in competitive drifting.
Yeah.
You really do. So yeah, just learning that chassis, I'm like, dude, this thing's great. I have battle version rear upper arms so I can get zero camber.
Nice.
I can't even remember the last time I checked my alignment, dude. I just put a meaty tire on and go rip, and like the car's great.
As long as it burns right.
Yeah, dude.
Your alignment must be somewhat right.
Yeah, and it's got fuel coilovers and wise fab.
What alignment specs do you run in the front?
I run a lot more camber in the front of the Supra than like traditionally.
Okay.
And I just, dude, every car, like whether it's a BMW or what, you know, just a little bit of toe out in the front.
Yeah.
Throw some camber in the front. Dude, I've never even checked the caster on the Supra. It's fine.
If it feels right,
It is right.
Yeah, and like really, once you drive so much, you can feel like when you need to adjust your caster. Like,
Yeah.
it becomes a feel.
especially
Like,
getting acclimated in one specific car.
yeah, like when I got the car, we put on a frame machine and measured everything out, make sure the frame was straight, which it was after, you know,
Yeah.
the whole Lindsay Lohan history. It's still good, man. It's clean title, dude. No.
Clean as far as the government knows.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I guess because it changed states so many times, it's clean title now. I don't know. But yeah.
That's crazy.
So we got that car. Like, I love it, man. And like, I put it up for sale one time because I was like, I had like another Supra at the time, and I was like, I'll just build that other Supra because it's a hard top. I love the Targa, but I'm like race car. Slick top, hard top, you know, like a little bit lighter, a little bit more rigid, find any advantage you can. And like, really, that stuff's not as important as you think it is. It is, but there's so many other things, like you can just add more power and it's fine.
Yeah. There's
like,
always something to offset that.
Yeah, that's kind of like the direction I'm taking, like with the C6 Corvette. So I'll have a build series coming out for the C6 Corvette. We are building my first Formula Drift Pro Spec car. And so I want to take that car from Pro-Am to Pro Spec to Pro. That's the plan. That's the dream. I've always wanted to do it. We're going to try. We might make it. We might not. I don't know. But literally, I traded my Corvette for Taylor's Clutch Kicker's Corvette, the orange one. Is a supercharged torque tube car.
Oh, yeah.
Stock LS3. I put that supercharger on my LS that I took out of the Supra. I recycle, man. Like,
As you should. You
Like
kind of
s-
have to, being in the sport we're in. It's too fucking expensive.
yeah, and dude, you just can't get stuff, man. Some of my friends
Yeah.
been waiting on parts for like 9 months. Like, you know, like
Dude,
I don't
no,
know, but
absolutely not.
yeah. So I took that engine out of the Supra, which has been in like 3 of my cars now, and you know, leak down test perfect, compression test perfect. Like cam bearings look good, cam look good. Let's go. So like
Hell
slapped
yeah.
the supercharger on it, front drive. I got a dog box for it now, and got the QuickTime scatterproof bell housing.
Okay.
Thanks to Holly
You're going all
Performance.
out.
Those guys are amazing. They make everything I need. Like you need something weird,
Yeah.
like, hey, I got this engine. And I want to
If
put
you
this
have
transmission.
LS, you need to get in with a Holly.
Holly is the best, dude. So I'm putting Holly Terminator on it, and Winter's quick change, and the FDF. Shout out to the FDF boys. What's up?
Yeah.
They make a quick change assembly mounting kit where you can bolt up a quick change in the back of a C6 Corvette. So if you use the, no disrespect, but if you use the Race RTS kit, you like have to flip something internally in the quick change, which is fine. It works great. Like Taylor's had that on his car with no issues. And but obviously I'm just trying to do quick and easy and fast. I'm like,
dude, I swear to God, even with my angle kit on my Z, like in talking with Wes with his Corvette stuff, because he's sponsored by FDF too, like that FDF, their parts are so fucking simple to install. Everything is so self-explanatory. It's all beefy as hell, so you know it's like it's strong. It's gonna.
What all parts you got from them on your Z?
I literally just have the angle kit, and then I've got to throw the rack relocation on. That's literally it. Eventually, I'm gonna get the rear kit and everything like that. But
are you doing the tie rod spacers up, or like the actual weld-in relocation?
Oh, the weld-in.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
I have the offset rack spacers right now.
Yeah,
but
yeah, dude, if you keep those, you know, I'm gonna say a few controversial things.
Go for it. I love controversy.
All right, people hate on rack spacers, but if you just keep them tight, they're fine. Like I ran them for years. Like, yeah, you're gonna have some manufacturing.
You'll put a little bit more
there.
strain on the rack, but
right,
like, it's not as much as people think.
Yeah, man, just like keep them tight. I had mine come loose before. Like you gotta just nut and bolt your cars, and most of the stuff doesn't break. Same with angle kits and all that, you know.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have a handbrake and an angle kit on your first drift car. You're gonna be just fine.
Yeah, you don't need it.
You don't need it,
but I had one.
You know, when you're like working on your car and you're taking the lug nuts off, why use an impact, dude? Just use a four-way wrench. Dude, I got tools. I'm going to use my tools.
Yeah.
And then another one, like, dude, it's fine. Like, I've seen people come out, like sim drivers especially, come out to the school and they'll have a car already, a nice car. And they rip immediately. It's not everybody's different, dude. Everybody's different. You don't know what you're doing until you get out there and try it. So like, we'll also have people like, I don't want to use the handbrake. I'm like, why not? No, I just don't want to be relying on it. I'm like, then don't be. Like, just use it when you need it. Like, it's a tool to be used. Like, you're not, if you're spinning out every turn, right? You're not learning. You're not getting anywhere. But if you put a little bit of angle on it and you're not spinning out every turn, then you can like, okay, we're in drift. We can kind of build from here.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And then another one, everyone who's told me that you don't need horsepower to drift, you are correct. But when they're like saying it like, I don't need power, you haven't driven a car with power because it's fun. It's like way more fun.
Yeah.
So I guess the way to explain it is, let's say you can do like when my Corvette's done. It's going to do 2 laps and that's it. You got to change tires, right?
Yeah.
Stock 350Z, that white one I had. You could go run all day.
You could run mid-pond 2 days on a pair of Kendas.
Yeah.
And not even have to think about tires.
Yeah, dude. Like,
just water them down every few laps.
And you're having fun.
Yeah.
But the way I see it is, at the end of the day, those 2 laps are going to be so rowdy. You're like, good, you know, as driving for a whole day. And I've done both, you know, but like once you progress over time, you're like, I really enjoy having horsepower. Like this is rowdy. It's fun. Like supercharged V8s, just like laying into it. And then like a big turbo JZ or RB, like, dude, they're that, like if you have fun drifting and look at yourself in the mirror. If you ever said you don't need power to drift and you're like kind of being a hater, look at yourself in the mirror and say, if my car had triple the power, I promise you would love that car even more. I really do. Like, I'm not being mean or anything. I'm just saying, like, if you had more power, I'm telling you would enjoy your car. Like, it'd be that much more fun. You're like, okay, I see why people have a lot of horsepower.
I'm more on the low power side. I love that, but that's because I don't personally care about competition. But totally I also understood the fact that like I had a VQ, I had it as gripped up as possible, and I could not keep up with all the LS friends that I had.
That's
so
tough.
I was like, okay, well, I'm very JDM, So I don't want to go LS, but I still want to be able to keep up with these guys. So what's the next route? So it's either 1J or RB. And I didn't want to do JZ, any type of JZ, because that's the normal swap you see in a 350Z other than an LS.
Oh, yeah,
At the time, nobody made any mounts. Nobody made anything for the RB swap. So I was like, challenge accepted.
And you got a Nissan with a Nissan engine, which I know I put random engines in random cars, but I do like that it is a Nissan with an RB. I do think that's pretty sweet, and I love RBs.
Honestly, I would say they fit 10 times better than a VQ, too.
Oh, they actually do, yeah.
Yeah.
They really do.
They're long as fuck, but...
If you cut the false firewall out and, like, strip a VQ down of everything but the essentials, they're not bad. And then you do that, whatever intake I had on mine. What's that cool-looking intake?
Kinetics,
yeah.
Kinetic?
Yeah, so it made it way easier to work on. And that's the thing with drifting. You got to, like, know what you want out of drifting. If you don't want to compete, I'm so jealous of you because you're, like, living it up. You don't have to.
Did you play sports when you were in high school or anything?
Man,
or growing up at all?
I didn't make the basketball team in high school.
Basketball sucks, anyways.
It was political.
That is very true.
It was political.
But,
I should have been on the team.
I grew up playing sport. I played baseball since I was 4 years old until senior year of high school. So like my competitive edge was just completely drained out of me. And by the time I was out of high school, like I started getting into cars heavily. It's like I don't really care to do competition anymore. I just want to have fucking fun.
Yeah. Dude, it all makes sense now because I didn't make the basketball team in middle school. And like me and my buddy used to ball all the time. We had fun. Zach, you know.
Yeah.
Dude, I used to be way taller than him. And then he hit a growth spurt, whatever. Anyways, I never got
those guys.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, come on, man. I used to be taller than you. So I never got to compete when I was younger. My sister, like, I'd travel around with her, like, basketball and stuff, and I never got to compete. So I've been missing that my whole life, and, like, I just have the competitive drifting bug so bad. Yeah. And I just love competing, man. I just love, like, going for it, putting everything into it. And, like, I chase things in my life that I'm, like, pushed to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those, like, my mom always said everything happens for a reason, you know, so I kind of have that out, you know, look. So I go where, like, the world kind of pushes me to go and what my interests are in. And that's how I've gotten, like, the cars I've gotten, you know, if the deal goes through, if it doesn't go through. I used to get pretty heartbroken when I was younger and, like, especially when I had no car.
Your emotions a little heightened.
Oh, yeah. And then, like, as I'm older, I'm like, it just wasn't meant to be, you know, and it all work out, you know, and literally just got my dream car. So, like, I'm still on cloud 9 right now. Like, I'm just
that's a good perspective for a lot of people to see, though, because I mean, even myself, still to this day, there are some times where I beat the living fuck out of myself for certain situations that I either overlooked or I just didn't take advantage of. But in the end, like you said, there's a lot of shit that you had to back down on or it didn't work out or whatever. But in turn, you ended up with the car of your dreams. And I've got 2 fucking cars out there that I never even imagined of owning. So I'm in the same position.
Yeah,
dude. I can't remember what episode I said it on, but sometimes I'll literally just go walk outside, look at my cars, walk through my shop, and be like, there's no way you're fucking bitching right now.
Yeah.
There's no way you're being a little crybaby.
You ever pull a chair out and, like, just drink a beer or something?
Exactly.
And you're just like, I just need to, sometimes I just go sit down there and stare at the car. Sometimes I'll take my baby down there and she'll be asleep on me. Or, like, you know, and I'm like, man, this is like...
I'll go sit in the driver's seat of my Z and just hit my vape staring at the steering wheel.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah, dude. I just feel like I don't deserve it sometimes, but, man, God has been good. I've stayed out of trouble my whole life and just, like, you know, did what I was supposed to do. And I feel like if all this had come 10 years ago, I'd already be an FD, you know?
Yeah.
But...
Of course. You can't help but have those thoughts sometimes.
No, man. And this journey's been dude, there's just never-ending stories behind it with so many different people across the world, really. Like, I mean, when we were doing cannonballs, when I met my 3 buds in Sweden, like, we just rolled up on another team whose car just caught on fire, and, like, you know, and, like, you just make friends from all over the world, and, like,
that's wild.
The car industry, and, like, it's such a small world, like, still, especially in the car industry, everyone knows each other.
Drifting.
Oh yeah, man. It's still like it's so big now, but still like so
minuscule.
Yeah, and man, like you're just like in a good spot with your car the way your Z is, for real, like truly.
I appreciate
Just
that.
having a car, anyone who just, if you don't want to compete and you have a car 300 to 500 horsepower, you're good. Like you can go rip a Road Atlanta in like a 300 horsepower car.
That's all I want.
I think you'd be okay. Maybe a little bit more. I guess it depends.
I
on
would
the
probably
car.
need around 450 to 5, I would say, for Road Atlanta.
Dude, 500 horsepower is rowdy. Like sometimes when I just go straight, like in a straight line, when the Supra still makes the same power with the LS as it did the JZ.
Yeah.
But when you're just like on the street and you just go straight and the car hooks, you're like, this is a lot of power. We're all so blinded. Back in the day, like if you ran 10s in the quarter mile, you ran the streets. Now, like if you don't run 8s, like don't
8,
bother
7,
showing
6s.
up. No one's gonna care. Like but it's
And nobody even thinks that's special anymore either.
No,
you
like
don't hear much about it.
when I grew up, man, Terminator Cobras were running the streets, dude.
Yeah.
They were running the streets. They had the Kenny Bells on them or whatever, dude. And yeah, man, the 911 Turbo back then would have spanked them, though, boy. But no one had one right. There weren't many of those floating around Alabama back then. Yeah, dude, our whole area's like come a long way, and just with cars in general, man, there's so many like really sick drift cars in Birmingham, and it makes me feel good. Especially a lot of the guys from back in the day are still around. And we're all getting together for Drift Wars too. I'm trying to get everyone like from back then. I'm like, you got to come. You got to bring your car.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if it's running or not. Just bring it out just for like nostalgia and like let's move into the future.
Let it sit in the pits. Who cares?
Yeah, man. Like, let's bring it out. Like, you know, show what we got here. And there's a few people coming from out of town. And hopefully everyone makes it. It'd be sick. And it'd just be really nice to have everyone out, man. It makes me feel good. And just to like to move it into the future and try a new format for drifting with like the grudge style drift battles. So we'll have people out drifting for fun, and then boom, we're gonna stop and like 2 guys, hey, I want to battle him. Okay, cool. Y'all go pick judges. You can have 1 judge, you can have 5 judges. Throw them up in the tower, go do a quick little comp, and then back on it. You know, like it's what, a 8-minute break in the driving.
Yeah.
Everyone else is going to run out tires before the day is over anyways, unless you're on Kendas.
Or their car will break.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the car breaks. If your car doesn't break and you're on Kendas, then I guess you will go home with some meat on the table still.
Yeah,
literally.
Look at another track day.
You still have that
in
Kenda
your
meat on
cards.
there. Dude, Kenda tires are great too, man. And
Yeah,
like
they're
they've stepped
unreal.
up a lot in the industry. And man, there's a lot of companies that have really stepped up with drifting, and they're just killing it. Like drifting's kind of
It's awesome
figured
to
out
see.
now, like what needs to be done. And
I think companies
great.
are finally starting to realize that is the next go-to sport as
Oh,
far as cars are related.
right.
That's like with E-Town, they completely like scratch drag racing, which has been a very well-known track for drag racing.
Mind blowing.
Yeah, that fucked me up whenever I finally heard about that and understood what they were
Oh
doing.
yeah,
But
man. And those stands were full. Like I went back, I was watching Top 16, and they're full, bro. And that's like a cool. You can see the whole track. Like it's neat. And like
have you ever been out there?
I've never been there.
Man, I got to
wanna
go
go.
for the first time
Really?
for Riverside. 50K.
You did. I saw you were up there.
I was doing Scotty's media, man, and oh my God, you do not understand how rowdy that track is and
Yeah.
how unforgiving it is until you're there.
I mean, let's be real. How many people turn on FD jersey and they're like, "This is going to be a snooze fest."
Yeah,
Bro,
dude,
that was the
it's the
crazy-
next fucking Long Beach.
Oh my
like it's
God.
equivalent to Long Beach is what I would say.
Yeah, dude.
because there's so many walls.
So much happened, so many wrecks, so much drama. Like, dude, Chelsea, bro.
Oh shit.
Bro, like,
Chelsea, you're a fucking savage for that. I will give you that. That was funny.
I don't know how I feel about it. So like, I like the humble Chelsea. Like I've only,
I do too.
I
love that he can jump down someone's throat whenever he needs to as well.
mean, dude,
Maybe not on camera. Let's not do it on camera, I'd say.
that
But
they did him dirty. That's
yeah.
they did
I
him
don't think
dirty.
the situation actually played out the way they made it look.
for sure. There was other things going on behind the scenes. I think we all know that there's 3 sides to every story. Everyone should know that there's 3 sides to every story.
Mm-hmm.
And we should all just leave it at that. And, you know, there's some people, of course, the internet have gone off the rails, one side or the other. Just like everything in the world today, like, it's okay to be in the middle, guys. Like, I'm kind of on the middle of this one because I don't really know exactly both sides.
Yeah.
I would not have handled that situation that way. There's only been like one time I was super heated at clutch kickers. Sorry, Dan Brockett. Dude, I like yelled at Dan for like a while till like I had no voice, and he like,
For what?
like, I was battling Troy Manners, and like he hit me on turn 1, and like, you know, we're going. Then he hit me again, and like it spun me out like the second time. Like you can see the back of my car, like, you know, and like whip me around. And Dan gives me so much crap every time I see him. He's like, I don't spin. Because I was like, dude, I went up to him. He's like, you spun on your own. And I was like, I don't spin. I was so mad. I was like, which like I had the PBM knuckles on it. And like, I was doing qualifying and like, I was like, I'm going to see how far I can go before it spins out. So I like spun after the finish line. Because again, I'd never driven the car. And I was like, I want to learn the limits. And then I get like 20 text messages from my friends at home. They're like, hey, idiot, don't spin out. I know you did that on purpose, but you look like an idiot on TV, like, you know? And I was like, you were doing great. Everyone's like, wow, look at him go. Maybe the LS Supra's not bad. And then you blew it. And I was like, it was after the finish line. And they're like, don't do that. But yeah, and then, I don't know, it was hard to get the car to spin on those knuckles. And, which, again, with those knuckles before the WiseFab, if you don't know how to set up WiseFab, you'll hate it. That's why
I have heard that a lot.
I hated it. And then I learned how to use it. And I was like, WiseFab, you guys are amazing. Like, this is a great kit. But the PBM already had, it's cut knuckles, basically. Yeah. So, car was great. And he said I spun. And, like, I had 3 other spotters like, dude, he hit you. And, like, dude, there's rubber all over my wheel, my work equip. Which it just polished out. It's fine. Yeah. But yeah, that was back when I was like, cool, I'm going to run these.
Powder coat.
I'm going to run these wheels. And then they're just so heavy and stuff. And I was like, man, I want to start winning. Like, you know, like it looks cool, but I want to win. Baller. And there's so many good wheels out there. And then that's how I got on with Rocket Racing wheels. Like simultaneously, they're like, man, we need those wheels on your Supra. And I was like, I was actually about to hit you guys up.
I was thinking the same thing.
So, dude, those wheels are light, and I am on the same set of wheels I got from them. Like, there's a few, but dude, those wheels take a beating, and they don't care, man. Like those Rocket, and they got bought out by Holly, so you can still get them, dude. Freaking amazing wheels. Check those guys out. Like Holly does great, dude. I freaking love Holly. They bought like every good company.
I love how ingrained they are with lower level drivers.
Oh, dude,
just like
people like
PCU,
me.
BC, like, yeah, it's dude, awesome.
They are good for the community, you know, and they're so big they can help out little guys, you know, like, so if you, dude, go out there and kill it, freaking, you never know, like, who may be like, hey, dude, we want to help you out. You're killing it. Like, you know, you're traveling around, whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, that was just great. But, yeah, man, I spun. He said it was my fault. There's rubber all over my wheel. And he was like, dude, that was when he hit you on the first turn. And I was like, bro, if you hit the lead car, you messed up.
Yeah.
Am I right? You're not supposed to hit the lead car. That means you screwed up. You want to get as close as possible without hitting.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah,
a little tire rub, little nudge is okay.
Yeah, a little nudge, but if you put a dent in it, too bad. You know?
Yeah.
But he's like, that was the first turn. I was like, how many times do I got to get hit, dude?
Mm-hmm.
So like, and he's like, you didn't get hit. And I was like, whatever, dude. I was so mad. I kicked the back bumper off my car.
What the fuck?
And my wife was like, hey, you need to calm down. And I was like, when my wife steps in, that's when I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
like,
you gotta check yourself at that point.
Yeah, I'm honored to have been able to drive with him and all these guys and clutch kickers, dude, because I learned so much. And yeah, man, you know, Kevin used to live with Dan, so there's that whole thing, and we went and like partied later on. He just keeps giving me crap, and I'm like, all right, dude, I'm sorry, like, but
can we move on, please?
I think he hit me. No, he doesn't ride me that bad about it. Just
yeah.
But yeah, man, it was just funny. But I get it, man. You get heated in competition. You know, like, I don't know Chelsea, but like a couple times, like at random events, like Grid Life or something, he comes by, like, I don't know if he still does, but he just walk around the pits and just be like, hey, what's up, guys? You know, and he'd be wearing flip-flops, just chilling. Mm-hmm. I'm like, hey, man, you know, like, that's cool. You know, he's just comes out and talks.
That man just loves drifting. I've never seen someone love drifting more than him. I'd have to say
But
that.
why is he so mad?
Because he loves drifting. That's exactly why.
I think like it was good for the sport.
Bro, I would say
everyone was talking about that. My whole feed, I know like all my feed is just drifting stuff, but dude, the feed was just like yeah, but like, you know, it's
good publicity too, I'd have to say.
Yeah, man, he was angry. But again, we don't know all the sides of the story. It is what it is, and they just issued him probation, so whatever.
Yeah.
Just gotta hold it down while he's in St. Louis. Just keep it calm.
Yep.
But yeah, man.
Level head.
Competition drifting will bring out a lot in you, man. I get it. I can't really fault them for that, but dude, if there's a few other teams, like, when will we see the first fight in FD? It's coming, dude.
That is true, yeah.
It's coming, bro. Like, the wrong two people get around each other, over.
Yeah.
And dude, Chelsea, that was real. That was from the heart, dude. You could hear
you could
it.
tell.
Dean Kearney. So, I don't know if y'all go back and look at Jersey.
Okay.
Kazuya.
Yeah.
Kazuya goes in his pit and yelled at him. And I said to someone, hey, man, how much you want to bet his next YouTube thumbnail is going to be him yelling at him? Because when he did it with Kevin, it got a bunch of views. Y'all think that was real? Was Dean Kearney really mad at Kazuya? Or was that for the show?
That's a good point, man. Because nowadays, with especially YouTube and stuff, just regular content creators, you can't never fucking tell if they're just doing it for views or not.
Hey, don't hate me, Dean. Like, if you're legit mad, I totally understand. But
yeah,
I just like to poke around a little bit.
Yeah. Drop it in the comments and let us know.
Yeah, his Viper's sick though, dude. Like,
yeah,
dude, that thing's rowdy. Yeah, and he can wheel. Everyone in Pro 1 can freaking wheel a car. And people give Mohan crap, but dude, he's like, people overlook him. He's a day oneer, man. He has been deeply ingrained in drifting for so long, and that guy can rip a car. He's won so many battles in his life. It's just Pro 1's on such a level, and he's doing it in a rotary. So y'all gotta like, let's give him an applause, dude, for still doing it in a rotary. And like, man, when that car sounds so good too. Yeah. You know,
he's supposed to be. He's gonna come on.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, that'd be sick.
He's busy as all hell. But...
Oh, I'm sure. Mohan, I've only heard him on Maximum Driftcast.
Yeah.
I really like want to hear him go deep on his story.
Oh, I do too. That's why
really
I'm interested
do, because I don't think he got that deep on Driftcast, which I love Maximum Driftcast, but it got a little chaotic at times. Where that was
the one thing I couldn't. Yeah. I couldn't get on board with.
Which
they would start rambling about what they had for dinner last night.
But some of it was so
dude,
funny. Like, depending on what mood, like sometimes I'd just die laughing. I'd be like crying laughing, listening to that show. You know, yeah, I miss it, but you know, I'm glad you're doing this, dude. And honestly, man, applauding you. You're
Thank
really
you.
falling into this very well. I've like binged so many of your episodes recently, and I'm like, just seeing your progression.
Appreciate that.
And like just this and like the people you're having on. I remember in the Maximum Driftcast days, everyone's like, dude, can you have like more Pro-Am guys or whatever? And you went even further. You're getting people like me on who are just like drift guys. You know, so you have Ryan Sage on and you'll have me on. It's like, dude,
the guy last
really
week,
cool.
Garrett, before Drift HQ podcast.
Yeah, with the RX-7. Yeah.
Garrett, yeah, he just hit me up randomly. That's what I love.
Yeah.
Because the nobody people, they've got the best fucking stories.
He's not a nobody,
dude.
man. Like, he's a drifter. You can tell.
Yeah.
He like went through it and like lit his car on fire a few times. I've done that.
We'll save that one for another podcast in the future. Sure.
No, we'll touch on that later. But yeah, man, like I really like the direction you're going with this, dude. It's like, I feel like your past few like handful of episodes have really pulled together strong, man. You got something. And when you got Ryan Sage on here, that's saying something, dude. So like, this is great. I hope you keep doing this. This is a long game too when it comes to, you know, sponsors and all that. Like, it's a long game. The longer you do it, more credible you are, the better it gets, man. And
I appreciate
you're a real drift dude. Like, if I wasn't competing, I'd probably have a car just like yours, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's just such a sick setup. Like,
well, shameless plug. If you want to continue to see the podcast, grab the merch, hit the subscribe button, because that's the best way,
dude,
for this to keep going. I don't
is
make any money off of this podcast right now. Absolutely zero. Everything that it makes just goes funneled right back into it, plus the money I make on my day job.
You deserve to make something off this, and I hope you do very soon. Drifting wasn't financially rewarding to me for a very long time.
Yeah.
So,
which that was never really my goal either with this. I
Same.
genuinely just want more people in drifting. I want the sport to grow.
Dude, it's growing so fast right now.
Did you see the post I shared on Facebook and put it on my story, on Circle Drift story?
Maybe.
Yesterday?
What was it?
Driven Luck circuit that's coming out.
Oh, I did see
in
that.
Alabama.
Whoa.
Bryant, Alabama.
Is that the... Does he own a drag strip or something? I think I've...
No, his name's... You know Coy Dillard.
Coy Dillard.
He has the RB20 S14.
Okay.
It was pink, and now it's like silver, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. They're building what will be probably the most JDM style track anywhere in the country.
Does it... That sweeper turn, does it have like elevation to it? It looked like it had...
I'm going to cut this part out.
Okay.
Coy will be on soon, but again, if you do want to see the full-length podcast, check out Patreon.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, dude, drifting's in a very magical spot right now. It's
in the make it or break it moment, I think.
Yeah, and it's weird to say that with how good it's been doing, and a lot of these aftermarket parts companies, I believe a lot of them are doing really well, but
they're shelling out a lot. But if there's not the people getting into it to really,
for example,
make it keep going,
you're shelling out right now. You don't have anything coming in because you love it.
Yeah,
you know, one day it could be rewarding, and like that was my thing. I was like, I end up making nothing off this. I'm cool because this is what I love doing. Like the first time I drifted a car, I was like, this is the most fun I can have in a car. I also grew up watching WRC rally. Peter Solberg was my guy.
Okay.
WRX, baby. Let's go. Yeah, man. This straight cut gear transmission. Those are so cool. So I love like rally, but yeah, it's the most fun you can have in a car, dude. And like, you know, you have to treat it like a business, like anything, you know? And like, that's how like this should be. And we're in a world now where like you are a necessity to drifting for like sharing information and people to like, I mean, you're like the news. You're the news, not in a bad way.
Of
like,
drifting, yeah.
But like, think about back in the day, like you had media. We needed to have media so we know what's going on in the world, and that's what podcasts are.
Well, the way I see it is like it's just garage talk. Like it's just like sitting in the garage with all of your buddies, sitting around, have a conversation about cars. So whenever you first learned about drifting, what the fuck did you do? You sat there and talked to somebody about drifting to understand what it was, or you sat there on YouTube doing your own research, whatever. So I think it's kind of like the median ground between content creators of like entertainment stuff, which it shares a little bit of knowledge, but you don't get the nitty gritty.
Right.
You don't get the horror stories that happen to get you to the progression points. So that's why I wanted this to really show where people fucked up. Like as simple as that. So we all fuck up, especially in this sport. It gets really bad.
Yeah. And like
I've gone 3 years now without drifting. And that's because I've put more into this than my car. My car will come at some point, but I want to make sure the sport grows so that I can continue to even be able to be in it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got to have a place to drive. You got to have interest in it to keep this machine going, you know? And there's just so much information now. Like, whenever you hear Odie talk, I listen. Like, if he's talking, I'm just like, ooh, what's he saying? You know? And, like, you learn stuff.
Yeah.
So
well, we'll leave on that point. What is your absolute best piece of advice for anyone getting into drifting? Because I think that's a good segue.
Be careful who you take advice from. There's a lot of people out there giving advice that is not correct, sadly, but they're just trying to help. They're coming from a good place. Just try to take advice from people who you see doing well And then again, some people can be the best drivers in the world, but they cannot tell you how to drive. They're like, I don't know. Also, yeah,
It's just like second nature for those people. They
yeah.
they just do it and they don't comprehend.
You have to
what's
be able
going
to
on.
communicate back and forth, like what they're doing in the fields and all that. Just be careful who you take advice from, so you're not, pissing in the wind. Also, figure out what you want out of it. If you want to go the competitive side and whatnot, and I tried to do different things. Like my Corvette, I was gonna do the Camaro diff, and it would have saved a lot of money over the quick change. But I'm like, instead of trying to be an innovator or whatever, the plans kind of shifted with that car, and I'm like, I'm building a pro spec car. Like, screw it, I'm building a pro spec car. Clutch kickers, hopefully we'll be back next year, but if not, I think no matter what, I'm all in on trying down the FD path. I'm all in trying down the FD path.
For Riverside, bro.
Dude, I'm trying to go to that one.
So much money.
I know. I'm trying to go to the one in Salem, Indiana. Dude, thanks for having me on. This is amazing.
I appreciate you coming down.
I love telling my
Coming up.
story, man, and like
this is
sharing my
great.
knowledge. Most us drifters are open books, so people message me, and I just, hey, yeah, I don't know this, or I know this. Like, just sharing my knowledge, like others have done with me. And, it's amazing.
Well, hell yeah, bro.
Keep doing this drifting podcast, bro.
I'll keep it up.
I need more
every
podcasts.
Sunday. Subscribe, hit the bell notification so you're updated with every episode. But did you have any sponsors you want to shout out?
Yeah, dude. Holly Performance, Rocket Racing Wheels. Those guys are awesome. They've really helped me out a lot. They're all car guys that work there too. They're just us that work at Holly. So it's really cool. And Solvent Division, he is making drift cars beautiful again in Birmingham, Alabama.
Sick.
He really is, man. Like, there's some killer. If you want a really nice paint job, like, he's your guy. It's not cheap, but it's totally worth it. Like, just take 2 body kits with you and just have them paint them all so you can let's go.
That way you're prepped and ready to go.
Yeah, man. Solvent Division, Atlas Appliance Repair in Birmingham. If you're in Alabama and you have an appliance that needs to be repaired, contact Atlas Appliance Repair. Those guys are awesome. They fix my stuff, my parents' stuff, my in-laws' appliances. It's so hard to get appliances in today's world, so check them out. Who else we got? Boozer Bill. If you have a Land Cruiser, he is a Toyota genius. And I've met him in high school and we're still boys today. He's amazing. Whenever I can't fix something or whatever, I take it to him. He's the guy. Boozer Bill, Birmingham, Alabama. Check him out. Dude, I think I'm forgetting people, man. Scott at Grip Royal always takes care of me with the wheels.
Gonna be coming on soon.
Scott's
He's
that guy could probably go 10 hours with you.
Oh,
dude.
I know.
Scott at Grip Royal, Mike Grip Royal.
Good people.
You guys are great. Dude, who else? I'm sorry, I'm probably forgetting people. But yeah, man.
No worries.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for
I sure
support.
do. I appreciate you coming on. This was a fantastic episode. I'm sure you guys, if you want to see the full length, I'm going to make sure that this one is a little bit shorter for YouTube. If you want to see the full length, go to Patreon and join there, and you'll get the entire uncut podcast. So
Kick this guy a couple bucks. Don't feel bad about it, man.
It's
like
$6 a month. It's cheap as balls.
It would add up quick. And like, this dude's the real deal, man. He loves drifting, and what he's doing is good for our community. And bro, you're killing it, man. Like, you're like, you hit, like, you broke through your SpaceX. You just broke through the atmosphere, and you're going to space now, dude. Like, for real. Like, you are really, I feel like you got over that hard hump that's like so hard to break through. And like, dude, I've experienced with my own like YouTube. It's tough, dude, but like, I think you broke out. Like, I think it's just gonna keep growing, dude.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that a lot. Shit's hard behind the scenes and nobody sees it, but
for sure,
I'm always gonna keep it going. So
I love it.
With that being said, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and if you don't mind, grab some of the new merch. This will only last until the end of July. And then, of course, we will have a new job after that. But if you can't do that, I completely understand. Just watching the podcast itself is amazing to me. So that's pretty much it. I will see you guys next week for another episode every Sunday. So
peace. I got you. Yeah, let's go. See you guys.
yeah.
I love your sign off. I always appreciate that.
Look, they said that I couldn't do it, so I went and did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, you know, I've been on a what? Mission. Go. Okay, let's get it. Got a little time on my hands like a wristwatch. I don't got time for the breaks and the pit stop.